Hello, this is Daniela from Sewing for a Living. In this video I'm going to show you how to measure knits for stretch percentage. You can find the link to the percentage ruler I'm using here in the description, as well as some resources on pattern drafting and sewing for knits, and how you can use the skill of measuring the stretch percentage, so go ahead and check the links if you will. Here I have prepared the stretch percentage ruler as well as two knit fabric pieces that I am about to measure for stretch percentage. I've bought both of these fabrics to be 95% rayon and 5% spandex according to their composition. However, they seem to have different appearance, feel and draping. Let's see if they both have the same stretch percentage and result of the same amount of spandex in their consumption. I'm going to start with the red one and the stretch percentage ruler in inches. I want to measure crosswise grain, so I'm going to fold the fabric holding the two selvage ends. I will use two pins to mark 4 inches on the fold. Be careful to put the pins straight so that they don't hold more fabric when stretching. Then place one pin at the beginning of the ruler and the second one at the 4-inch mark. Holding the first pin in place, pull and stretch the fabric as far as it would go. Mine goes up to 40% stretch. I also want to measure the recovery qualities of this fabric. When I release, the fabric bounces back to its original shape, so we can consider it with excellent recovery qualities. Next, I'm going to measure this printed fabric. Again, I fold the fabric crosswise the grain because I want to measure the stretch horizontally. This is the direction in which the fabric usually goes around the body, and that's why it matters most for me. If the pattern asks for two-way stretch fabric, you should measure on the grain as well. Again, I'm holding one pin down at the beginning of the ruler and stretch the other one as long as it would go. This fabric has a stretch of 55%. It also has some pretty good recovery. It goes back to less than 10% on the ruler, which is considered good recovery, although not as good as we've had with the previous fabric. I am going to do the same with the stretch ruler in centimeters. First, I'm going to measure the stretch and recovery qualities of the red knit fabric. I'm going to fold the fabric, measure 10 centimeters and mark with pins. Then I'm going to stretch the fabric, holding the first pin down, and measure the stretch percentage. Again, as it's the same fabric, it stretches up to 40%. I'm going to repeat the same with the printed fabric. Fold the fabric crosswise grain, measure 10 centimeters, and find out the stretch percentage and recovery qualities of that fabric. This example shows that fabrics that are with the same consumption might have different stretching and recovery qualities. So you still might want to measure the stretch and recovery percentage before starting your sewing project. If you want to learn more about how measuring stretch percentage can help you when drafting patterns for knits and how to add negative ease to the pattern, visit the blog. I hope you liked this video. If so, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.